So leave the poor man alone, please. We would like to start. Thank you. Please sit down. Put your cameras down, please. Thank you.
Open your bottle before it goes. Might open your bottle.
Thank you.
Do you think the clash is too much?
Would you please sit down too, sir?
Is it?
Thank you. So, welcome everybody to the press conference of the movie Bellamy, this year's competition. And we have a lot of wonderful guests. I'm going to introduce them to you, starting from your left. The director, Nick Ormerod. Welcome. And the other director, Declan Donnellan. Welcome to Berlin. And this is the fantastic Christina Ricci. Welcome. And Mr. Robert Pattinson. And this is Holiday Granger. Welcome. And the producer, Roberto Pasolini. Welcome to Berlin. And there was one question on the left, please.
Hello, my name is Cameron Egri from German-Turkish City Magazine in Berlin. It's very nice to meet you all together. My question goes to Robert Pattinson. What was the experience for you to work as journalist at the area at this time? Please, thank you.
To work as a journalist. It's funny. I mean, I kind of like the idea, like, especially when he gets into the gossip section of the newspaper. It's just funny. I mean, for something that was written in, when was it written? 1889,
1885. Yeah.
1885. Like, for it to be the exact same situation as now, where like you have a template article and you just replace the names and it could be about anybody. I thought that was fairly funny. But he's not really a journalist. I mean, obviously, the whole time he's kind of. That just happens to be. It's basically like being a reality TV star now. I mean, it was one of the jobs where you could kind of. He found a loophole in life where he could get money and a reputation by basically doing nothing because he could hide. But it was fun. It was interesting. I didn't actually have too much of an experience of playing a journalist, though, as such.
Thank you. On the right.
Hello, it's Katarina O'Hanna from German TV. I have a question for Robert Pattinson. So up to now, we saw you as a hero kissing some teenage girls. Good guy, good vampire, and now you play a bad guy, kissing a lot of beautiful women. Which part you like more?
Do you like older or younger women? Well, also Holiday's supposed to be playing a kind of 14-year-old, basically. So I get my cake and eat it, basically. I know, definitely. There's definitely different things. I mean, it's funny. The structure of Bellamy and also the character of Georges really rarely comes up in any movies anymore because he's completely unrepentant. And normally a movie has to teach somebody a lesson nowadays, but this is just. You keep stabbing everybody in the back and then you get rewarded for it again and again and again, and so it was quite fun playing that, and I don't think I'll ever really have the opportunity to play it again. So yeah, they have to be diplomatic, and they both have their good sides.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hello, my name is Yulia. I'm from Hello Magazine Moscow. I have a question, Director Declan. You work a lot with Russian actors in theater, and you have a big success in Russia. And now you make movies. Do you plan to make movies with Russian actors also? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would love to make some movies with Russian actors. We had the most fantastic time doing Bellamy. Nick and I both took to it like ducks to water, large ducks to water, but ducks to water all the same. And as Hugo Boss has found out today, we'd absolutely love to make some Russian movies. We know some wonderful Russian stars like Yevgeny Mironov and so on. So it will be absolutely... Anyway, spasibo, огромное. И надеюсь.
Thank you. Yes, you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marissa from Metro TV Indonesia. I have questions for Mr. Pattinson and also Mr. Donnellan. First to Mr. Pattinson. Meryl Streep before told me that whenever she gets into character, she finds something that she can relate to her character. What is yours? Would you like to answer that first?
There was when I read the script a long time ago now. I mean, I was quite young, and I think I've changed a little bit since. But when I first read it, I did like the idea. I immediately related to just the idea that someone's energy wasn't about trying to achieve some kind of goal. The only time he had any energy was when someone slighted him, and you would get... So just for someone, a little petty insult, he would get the most enormous amount of energy, and that would drive him. And so it's kind of, I found that's kind of how I was a few years ago. If someone insulted me, I would get 10 years of ambition out of it. I kind of understood that. I mean, it reminded me a bit of Giant. In that, you know, you create an empire just so you can shit on someone else. But I think I've grown up a little bit now. I'm much more. I'm not as horrible.
Okay, and for Mr. Donnellan, what made you cast Robert Pattinson for this role? Thank you.
Because we were very, very lucky to get Rob. I thought he'd play it extremely well. I mean, he connected immediately to the role, and completely understood the part, completely understood the venality of the character. I was really struck at our first meeting. And I was also very flattered because Rob wanted to rehearse with me for a whole month before we began the shoot. And that was wonderful for somebody with Rob's unbelievably busy schedule to want to devote that much time to rehearsing before we began. But no, I think he's wonderful, the part. The part's in the opposite of Rob, because, and that's quite interesting, is the other half of the coin, because what the part's about, I think, is about somebody who has very little talent, who gets to the top on no talent. And it's a great parable for our times. And he kind of uses the energy of the society in which he is against itself. So he does a marvellous judo throws. So he's in this world of sharks, and he mirrors them. He becomes a shark like them. There's one hurdle, he gets over it, another hurdle, he gets over it. And I think that's an extraordinary thing about the part, and Rob really keyed into that, and it was very thrilling. I just remember that very first conversation in London we had about that years ago now. I was very thrilled by Rob's take on the part, and he's brilliant at it, you know. And we work very, very well and very warmly and very closely together, and that's why.
Thank you. Next question, please.
My name is Mahar Sigit. I wanted to ask about the language, but you cited Oscar Wilde, so I can understand that. So my question goes to Pattinson and to the producer. Pattinson, you are today a role model for many young new generation, which include my daughter 8 years old and my son 14. Because wherever I move at home I see your picture. So what do you think you owe this, let's say, this young generation that is after you, that makes you so famous? Do you feel a responsibility?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my responsibility, I think it's not necessarily to give anything back other than try and do the best work you can. I mean, you know, you get an audience for doing certain jobs, and so I think the biggest disservice you can do to your audience is just trying to keep repeating the same thing and trying to get them to come just to get money or whatever. But if people are interested in what you're doing, then if you try and do as interesting films as possible, or as interesting subjects, then I think it's great if a Twilight audience would come and watch Bellamy. I mean, it's like a movie which I wouldn't have thought that audience would necessarily go to. So I think that's, in some way, if that's probably being kind of arrogant, but like it's kind of doing a service to someone. I mean, I felt like I learned a lot doing it, just reading the book. So I would think that people, you know, especially young people, would learn a lot from it. That makes sense.
Hello, this is Pierpaolo from Italy, on your right. Summit is trying to persuade Stephanie Meyer to write another book of Twilight Saga. Can we say you're done with Edward after Breaking Dawn Part 2, or you consider the offer? And to Christina Ricci, would you consider a perfect DVD night watching the Twilight Saga? Thank you.
I think I can answer for Christina as well. Of course she will.
Of course. Yes. Your turn.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious what Stephanie would write. I mean, but I just think I'd probably be too old by the time they're getting. I'm already too old. But yeah, it might be kind of interesting. It was funny, they recast me like one of my competition.
Thank you. Next question, please, on the left.
Patrick Zwerger, Ankart, Austria. Mr. Pattinson, in this movie, nearly every girl had a crush on you. So, do it felt like real life when making this movie? And what do you think about the many girls waiting outside the Berlinale Palace in the cold? Do you also feel a little bit uncomfortable with it, or are you glad to be in this situation? Thank you.
I guess it's different levels of reality. I don't really think. For some reason, when I first read the script, I did kind of feel like that was my reality. but now it's changed. Is it? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's really nice. It's strange having such a kind of pretty much single-sex audience a lot of the time. But it's great. I mean, they've been incredibly loyal. The people who initially liked me or liked Twilight, whatever, and they, you know, people go to watch other movies and enjoy them. So I think I have been incredibly lucky with Twilight and the audience. But they're incredibly determined, and they'll come. I mean, like the audience outside here was from everywhere. People come from Thailand, like to stand out in the cold day. I mean, I can't relate on any level, but it's definitely very nice.